Here I am on my third playthrough of the Elden Ring DLC Shadow of the Erdtree using my Strength Intelligence character Dalinar. Here are the stats. Big ones are 60 Vigor, 66 Strength, so it's 99 when I'm two-handing, and 40 Intelligence. The rest of the stats are just for sort of lifestyle and buffs. The first thing I took to explore the DLC as a Strength character was the Executioner's Great Axe with Crackblade and Cold Affinity. I rushed to get the two-handed sword talisman because I'm pretty much always two-handing weapons with this character. As a sort of strength-based, you might say bonk character, I always wanted to get that 99 strength stat. You get the 1.5 times boost in strength when you two-hand your weapon. So I figured the two-handed sword talisman was pretty much a perfect accompaniment to almost every build. So I had that equipped almost the whole time, along with a bunch of other standard kind of talismans for defense and, Shard of Alexander. So then I rushed to Commander Gaius. I used an Old Faithful, the Iron Greatsword. I had Stormblade on it because it's helpful to have a ranged option against Gaius. And then just, two-handed sword talisman, of course, and then some lifestyle talismans. Used a couple of buffs because I know that I'm not very good at this fight. And I can't even dodge, some of his easier stuff. I did figure this one out, actually. I just wasn't nailing it. But this was only my second or third time fighting Gaius in this playthrough. I really just wanted his weapon, the weapon from his remembrance, the Sword Lance. So I kind of didn't care too much about learning this fight or doing too well on it for the video or anything. I really just wanted to get through it. I can never dodge his dang charge, but it is what it is. This character's really pretty tanky, so I wasn't all that worried. I knew that in a couple of attempts I'd get through this fight just because I know his moves well enough to get through it. And Stormblade is such a good Ashe that it's just hard to do poorly. There's actually a talisman that you get that's really great in the DLC for Stormblade, the Enraged Divine Beast, and I did end up getting that pretty early. See, that's the dodge for that move. You just kind of dodge backwards, which is counterintuitive for the way this game usually works, but, once you learn it, it's fine. That one's really easy to dodge. Always gives me a punish window or two, so I like that one. So I was rushing Gaius to get his remembrance weapon, the Sword Lance. It's what he's holding in his hand. I just really like the look of it. It's a heavy thrusting sword, which has a moveset I really like. I like being able to kind of just poke at enemies, and it's pretty quick for the amount of damage it does. And it does pierce damage, which, most enemies and bosses don't have a lot of resistance to. It's a really high quality damage type, and is boosted by the Spear Talisman, which I used occasionally. So I just am chipping away at Gaius with Stormblade, not doing a great job seeking out openings, just kind of dodging as well as I can, and then I actually got a stun here. That's maybe the first time I've got a stun on him. I was kind of scared of the AoE that I knew was behind me, but got the big damage riposte, and then just one more cast of Stormblade and he's done for. So not a terribly hard fight. So here I am playing around with the Sword Lance, his remembrance weapon that I got from Gaius. This is how I ran around for a lot of the DLC. I put Stormblade on the Sword Lance in either magic or a cold affinity. I eventually got the Enraged Divine Beast Talisman because that boosts storm damage and Stormblade. I'm pretty sure it boosts it. I actually didn't test it. I just kind of assumed it worked. But then here's the charge attack, the charge R2 that I really like. It does multiple hits and kind of stun locks even big enemies like this. And I just really like that pokey move set. So that's how I ran around a lot. Here I'm fighting Mesmer. I threw on the Spear Talisman, using the Sword Lance in magic affinity with Stormblade. So pretty much the same kind of setup. Two-handed Sword Talisman, Spear Talisman, Shard of Alexander, all for damage, and then Dragon Crest Great Shield for some resistance. I just rewatched this fight a second ago, and I did a really terrible job, but it just kind of goes to show how when you have a tanky character with a decent ranged attack, got hit by both of those. I think if I recall, I got hit by his spears right here. Yeah, it really sucks to get hit by that. Never get hit by that, and it you miss a decent punish window. So I was a little greedy in this fight because I feel like I know Mesmer's moveset pretty well, which you won't be able to tell from watching this, but I was pretty confident I can beat Mesmer, most of the time now. And Stormblade is just so good that it's kind of hard to do a bad job with it. So there he is, pulling out his Ash of War. Or, that's not even the Ash of War, but he has a couple big combo moves like that you just have to learn to dodge. And I can, but for some reason I was not doing it this time. So yeah, I really like the Sword Lance. I really love that pokey, heavy thrusting sword moveset. This is now the first heavy thrusting sword I use on this character. I mostly use heavy thrusting swords on my Griffith character, which I think makes a little more sense there. Actually, it doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of the role play for Dalinar from the Stormlight Archive, but whatever, it's a cool sword, who cares? So got into the phase transition, and I do think his phase 2 is a little bit easier, so I think that I get pretty greedy here, and it's pretty embarrassingly bad. One thing that's annoying about like Stormblade or Sacred Blade or something is the tracking is not great on those ranged options, like mid-range options. So like when he gets behind you, you kind of have to move your character. Oh, this was annoying. The dodge for that is easy enough, but when I'm at that distance, it doesn't work. Okay, so anyway, what I was saying about Stormblade is if you're like facing away, the tracking isn't great, so your character like casts it as they're turning, and it just kind of flies out, into the middle of nowhere, right, like that. So I should have been able to get 2 Stormblades off there, but I only got 1. Not really sure how he grabbed me there. I thought the dodge was decently well timed. It's going to happen again here. Oh no, worked. That was a good dodge. But yeah, I thought I dodged that snake attack. I guess I didn't. There it is, going askew. I was really sloppy. It was a very sloppy fight, but I know his moveset well enough that, oddly enough, I can do poorly and still beat him because he doesn't really pull anything out that I'm not, comfortable dodging. I just can't pull it off. There, that's so weird. I guess that is one that confuses me. This is one that I have no idea how I got hit by that. I always dodge that. It's such a bad attempt here, but we got him. Looks like I just need one more. I went for a heavy, and then I need one more Stormblade, so just waiting for the moment, and he almost killed me while I was waiting for it, so that's cool. Here it is, easy dodge. I made sure I was facing him this time so Stormblade didn't fly off to the side. And we got Mesmer with the Sword Lance with Stormblade. I think this was before I got the Enraged Divine Beast Talisman. I think I rushed from Gaius right up to Mesmer, so I didn't yet have the Enraged Divine Beast. But here is another option for the way I ran through the DLC. In Castle Ensis, you get this Moonrathil Knight sword, which I really like. It has this Ash of War. It's basically like a Carrion Greatswords type Ash of War. And what I like about it for just sort of exploring is you can just cast those, and if you get sort of ambushed like that, they'll just knock out that enemy. Or you just have these 3 big swords, this tremendous phalanx just following you around. And so you kind of just I didn't want to aggro that guy, so I just let the swords take out the one that was slowly approaching me, and then went and took out this guy. So this is a really fun exploration build. I actually did end up using it for a couple of boss fights too, which actually honestly coming up, this Horned Warrior guy is basically a boss fight. These guys are hard as hell over this bridge. Yeah, I think it's a really good skill. I enjoy it. I don't think this weapon is getting a lot of love on the internet or whatever, but I love the way it works. It's a really fun gameplay style for me. I love that R2 that's like a poke. So I actually did fight the Divine Beast with this setup, but I forgot to save the video. So I wasn't planning on fighting Rolana with this setup, but I wanted a video, so I just did it again. Same exact setup I used for the Divine Beast. I didn't... at this point, I now had the Enraged Divine Beast Talisman, obviously, because I had fought the Divine Beast. But against the Divine Beast, I just used Erdtree's Favor +2 for some, quality of life. And this actually turned out to be a pretty fun fight, because we kind of used similar tactics, so I felt like I kind of beat her at her own game. You'll see we summon swords that fight each other. It just feels very cool. Mine looked bigger, so, And I love that R2 poke attack. I just love that. I don't know, it just feels very powerful. So I would just sort of summon swords, let them chip away at her health whenever I had a second, and then otherwise get attacks in. I think I get a stun yeah, stun in this fight, which is cool. I love that she has Carrion Sovereignty. I really could have duplicated her build. Yeah, got a stun, which doesn't usually happen for me on Rolana because I don't really keep the heat up on her. And followed it up with a charge heavy, got her phase transition. I saw somebody on like the internet not getting hit by these swipes when they were close up, so I have no idea what I was doing wrong, but I got hit by all of them. But I specifically tried to bait out the magic attacks on the phase transition so I could get in close and try to get a couple swipes in, but it just didn't work. So that's kind of annoying. But, you know, burned through some health flasks, but I could tell I may have been over Erdtree fragmented here because this was a pretty easy fight, and this is my first time on Rolana. But also just a good strategy. I mean, these swords do a decent amount of stance damage, not a ton, but a good amount to sort of keep the stance, you know, poise damage going. I think this sword is really strong. I like its moveset well enough. Well, you know, I like that one move. I like the charged R2 poke right there. Well, it's just the R2 poke too. And that's an easily dodged move, so I knew I had her there. So rolled behind her, poked her in the back, killed her. Yeah, fun fight. Good weapon. So this, man, I think Midra is my favorite boss, maybe in the entire game, because I always look forward to fighting him. For this, I went with the Cold Star Fists with Cragblade and the Axe Talisman because they're just so quick. So you can do, you know, fully charged R2s, and the Axe Talisman adds a lot of damage. Learning from my Feanor fight, where I used the Yordov's Greatsword to, you know, a fully charged Ash of War would stance break him, I realized that stance breaking is probably the way to go on Midra. So I thought the Cold Star Fists were perfect because they can do these charged R2s. Got a really easy stance break. I had the cold affinity on, and you'll see we get frostbite there, so almost 12,000 damage in the first like second of the fight. He already transitions to phase 2. I was hoping to get a second stance break, but that's just how good these Star Fists are. And then I think he is one of the easier, you know, one of the more dodgeable bosses in the DLC, so I'm not so worried. Usually I don't love the Star Fists because their range is so small, but he's like not that hard to get in close to and do, you know, charge attacks or R1s, charged R2s, whatever. So I knew that they would be perfect for this fight, and indeed they were. This is one of the quickest fights in the DLC because I got a stun here and I think another frostbite. Yep. And then the Starfists also have passive bleed, and I get a bleed in a second, and he is down. I mean, he only did like 3 or 4 combos on me, so that was a great fight. And I wonder if I learned a lesson from that fight that I used again later, maybe. So here, actually the Ruins Greatsword was the sword that I was originally thinking of when making my Dalinar build. I think it's a great sword. I think it's a Ruins Greatsword, in fact. I do have to use the Great Jar's Arsenal. I only have 32 endurance. I could probably pump that up a little higher and use a little less faith, because I never used Howl of Shabriri, which requires 33 faith. But anyway, I needed to use a Great Jar's Arsenal to use it. I wanted to learn the Putrescent Knight's moves a little better, so I did like 15, 20 attempts on him, just like letting him kill me eventually so I could learn his moves. And I can dodge most of them. I didn't actually end up doing a no-hit, although I think I'm capable of it. But my kid woke up from a nap, so like right around now. So I was like, oh shit, I just got to beat him, you know, this time. And then, you know, maybe on my next playthrough I'll attempt a no-hit on him. I don't think he's that tough. He's one of the easier bosses. I did a couple like that. Like I knew I didn't have the time to do the Ash there, but I was like, I just got to kill him. And the Ruins Greatsword Ash does so much damage when it connects both with the melee attack and the Ash of War. So I knocked out another one here. Just the Ash of War, not the melee connection. Jump over his, you know, cold flame or whatever, knock out another Ash of War, and then he's real close to dead, so I don't really care that I'm tanking hits here. I think I just did another Ash of War just to knock him out because my kid was crying. Yeah, easy fight eventually. You know, he doesn't have that many moves. He's not quite as simple as Midra, which might be why Midra is my favorite boss, but yeah, good fight. I like the Putrescent Knight. Man, it is nuts how many great bosses there are in this DLC. Bale, I know he's pretty beloved. I actually don't love this fight. I think he's a really cool boss, but the fight I think is like, I'm just not very good at it. I don't know why. Dragon fights never have clicked for me. I just have a hard time against the big guys. And of course I summoned the greatest summon of all time. I think that guy's awesome. No idea how that hit me. Like, see, Dragon Stuff just isn't that fun for me, so I went with a kind of broken build, which is the Sword Lance. I don't remember if I had it in Cold or Magic Affinity with Stormblade, because I know that you can. It's like not that hard to stay in close and get headshots after all of his hits, but I don't know, man. I think he freaks me out. I think he's too scary for me, so I find myself backing away a lot. So I just wanted to use Stormblade just to chip away at his health. And it ended up being one of the longer fights of the DLC, but the summon came in clutch at a couple points and got Bale's aggro, so I could get in a couple extra hits. I think if that didn't happen, I probably would have gotten killed. I got pretty beat up because I'm just not great at this fight. I just don't know it well enough. I actually realized that I never actually beat him on either of my first 2 playthroughs. I don't know. I don't love it. I think he's cool. I think the cinematics are cool. I like watching other people do the fight. But doing it for myself, like, look at that. That looks sick. I admit, it looks sick. But it just, like, my heart rate is going up. I just don't find it that fun, personally, for myself. I think it's really cool when people kill him in cinematic ways, or they do no hits against this giant demon dragon. But, like, he intimidates me, you know? I'm not ashamed to say it. So I went with just my easiest build here. I think that the game would not be that fun if I just always used Stormblade. But Bale is a different beast. I needed to. So yeah, look how sick he is. Like, his wings are so cool. This big attack, I have dodged that. I don't know what was going wrong with me here. I guess my first roll was a little bit early, and then I just got kind of stuck in it. Yeah, but I think here comes a little bit of me mistiming a lot of things and kind of getting off my rhythm, and he ends up doing a ton of damage. And I had some camera issues too. Like, another reason I don't like fighting dragons is, like, the camera sucks. I'm a lock-on kind of guy. I don't love doing no lock-on fights because I just, like, I don't know, I'm just not very good. I have a hard time adjusting my camera and, you know, all the rest of it. So here he starts just clobbering me. I think he pushes me up against a wall and my camera goes haywire, and so I'm just not doing a great job. Yeah, see, like, I don't know what people love about dragon fights, if anybody actually does, but yeah, the camera, I'm much like, I have no idea what's even going on right now. So I just sort of heal up and then try to get the hell out of here as quickly as possible, all while kind of chipping away. This, I think, was my summon coming in clutch and aggroing him again away from me, so that gave me some time to kind of regroup, get a couple more chips away. That attack is pretty dodgeable, but he has a follow-up with his head that I always forget about. Yeah, I just don't know his combos well enough. I don't think this is going to be a fight that I commit to memory. Honestly, I hope I don't get friggin' canceled for this, but I think I'm going to skip him on most of my playthroughs. He's really cool. He's just a little too hard for me. I'll just enjoy watching people fight him on YouTube. That is plenty fine for me. And say goodbye to Egon, probably the coolest NPC in this game. I aspire to his level of passion about anything that he has about killing Bale. So here, really stupid boss, Matter. So I went with the Starfists. Stormblade probably would have worked too, but the Starfists feel even more broken, and I found myself close a lot. So I had him in cold for the Frostbite procs. I don't know if I got a bleed in this fight, but yeah, as I'm approaching, dodge the beam and then apply Crack Blade so it lasts a little longer. Dodge what I can. Don't know why I went for a charged attack there. I knew he was going to have these follow-ups. I just kind of brain farted it. So yeah, the Starfists, you know, I certainly didn't discover them against Midra. I knew they were great. I actually kind of avoid them because they can be pretty easy, or against a lot of bosses I struggle with them because they have such a small range. But against big guys like this, or somebody like Midra that, you know, frankly kind of stands there, they're super useful. So yeah, I realized that, oh no, I did put Metter in my first video, so I probably could have skipped this because this isn't like a fantastic fight. I just kind of, you know, Starfist away at him. But just kind of really goes to show, I think that the Starfists really were kind of a star of this run, and you'll see in a second too, I used them against the final boss, and I think that was, I'll cover that when we get there. But yeah, Metter has a lot of bullshit moves that are really tough to dodge, like huge AoEs that just start up really quickly. I got really lucky because he didn't summon any of his little finger minions out of his chest this fight, but they were always giving me trouble because they just, I don't know, I ignore them because when they're up, I got a stance break. Starfists are so good, man. I ignore his little finger guys because it's like if I start concentrating on them, he's still attacking me. He's doing these crazy AoE attacks and his melee attacks, and it's just impossible. I always died whenever I cared about his little finger guys, so really just kind of a luck situation for me. This attack's annoying, but you can kind of stand in the right place and avoid some of the worst of the second half of it. I didn't get out of the AoE fast enough initially, but yeah, here we are, just a couple more hits with the Starfists because they're so strong. I might have gotten a bleed there. Looked like a pretty big chunk of his health fell away. So, and I actually did this fight last. I did this after the final boss because I realized that the Remembrance had a hammer that I wanted to try out. So against, and I haven't tried that out yet, but I will. So against Letta and the NPCs, I actually had already killed the Horn Scent in an invasion in this one, so it was just Dane and Letta, so I knew this wasn't going to be that tough, but I thought that the Star Scourge Greatswords from Radahn's Remembrance in the base game would be good, because they have the AoE attack that pulls in people, and these are kind of light NPCs, so I knew they'd get smashed by it. And it's okay, it's just these weapons are so slow, and both of these attackers are really fast, so you'll see that when I do the roar with the follow-up attack, it's so slow that I get hit in between the roar and the follow. Here, you'll watch. So I do the roar, it pulls them in, sure, but then like they recover fast enough to hit me again before the follow-up attack even goes down. So I thought this would be like a guaranteed, I thought I would have time. I thought I wouldn't be able to get hit in between the roar and the follow-up attack. So this fight was a little more annoying than I thought it'd be, because they could just chip away at my health as I was stuck in the animation. But, it was only 2-on-2. I, of course, summoned Ansbach, the coolest guy. Actually, Ansbach might be the best NPC in the game, not Egon. But, it wasn't going to be a tough fight. I was just taking damage, which annoyed me. The Star Scourge Greatswords, they're really not good. They're just so slow. Their reach is so short that, even, a fight that I thought they'd be perfect for, they just were not. Against the Promised Consort, I really wanted to make the Greatsword with Giant Hunt work, but it just wasn't working. It was too slow, not doing enough damage. I was getting smashed. So I decided to switch to the Starfist with the Axe Talisman, and of course the Golden Braid, Dragon Crest Great Shield, Pearl Drake +3, and all the buffs that I used on Feanor, Bestial Vitality, Golden Vow, Black Flames Protection, because I'm not good enough to not get hit by this guy. I certainly can't no-hit him, and even when I know the attacks, he's gonna hit me with a lot of his attacks because I just can't pull off the dodges well enough. So like that, I know that attack. I don't really know why it hit me. So this is a pretty similar setup to how I fought him with Feanor. It's just instead of Euphoria, I'm using the Starfists with a Cold Affinity. And honestly, so this was the first time I fought him with the Starfists, and I actually did a pretty poor job, you'll see, as per usual. I had fights with the Great Sword and Giant Hunt that were a lot better than this. I was dodging everything and just got stuck in an annoying combo once, and that's what got me. But here I did a pretty bad job, but the Starfists are so much faster that I could get so many more hits in. And with the Cold, they had, big hits like that do thousands of damage. This was my first time using the Starfists, and I got him. So, I know his moves really well because I've spent hours on him on previous playthroughs. But this time I had maybe 15 attempts. I tried it with the Greatsword a lot. Oh my god. I have no idea what to do about this attack. I usually, whenever he does this one and pulls me in and does the Phantom attack and then a second slash, I usually am just well, so much for this one, because he usually just kills me there. But he didn't. So I had a little extra time. Got lucky because I got the easy Phantom slash so I could heal up. This really is a testament to how good the Starfists are. I noticed that I was, the whole way you want to do this fight is up close to him. You want to be up close. So I realized, if I'm hugging his legs the whole time, I'll be able to get a bunch of hits in with the Starfists. they'll do cold, frostbite, they'll do bleed, so they will smash him. I even got a stun. I don't think I've ever stunned him before, not even when I was using the greatsword. I tried it with Lion's Claw, I tried it with Giant Hunt, didn't get any stuns, got a stun with the Star Fists. Had a pretty good dodge session there, I'm pretty proud of. Really annoyed I whiffed that, because that would have been a big hit, but he, went to his meteor. Once again, I don't know how to dodge this man. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I got hit by the meteor attack again. So luckily it didn't kill me. And I was able to, do well enough that I ended up getting him in a second here. Oh, that's right. I got really close. I did a double heal there, which was a mistake because he went into his AoE attack and I wasn't far enough away. So I figured, I'll just heal up and I'll just take this one as it comes, and this will be the one, whatever. And then, of course, what happens is I start getting beat up. Reapply Crag Blade. Perfect, get the jump attack. But anyway, you'll see right here in a second, I start getting beat up because I'm getting so greedy because I'm thinking this is the one, whatever. And I get down to, I looked afterwards, it was 12 HP. So I was like, oh my god, am I actually going to lose this? But nope, he pulls out his easiest to dodge attack. I didn't get any lag, which I would have pissed me off, and I got him. So yeah, Starfists. Honestly, this was the easiest Radahn fight I've had. It was the first time I tried it with the Starfists. I think this is what I'm going to do going forward, because you're just always in close to him. And yeah, that was my playthrough with Dalinar. Looking forward to using all this stuff in future playthroughs.